greatly respected by his colleagues, evidenced by his election as co-speaker of the House during the 2011-2012 Legislative Assembly, when Democrats and Republicans shared control of the House. Senator Roeblen has always championed rural, ag, and coastal issues while in the legislature. Most notably, he's one of the leaders of the legislature's Coastal Caucus, which seeks to promote policies and programs important to coastal communities such as Tillamook. I also appreciate his work on educational issues, especially as it relates to creating better opportunities for young people in rural Oregon. Prior to seeking elected office, Senator Roeblen spent decades as an educator in Coos Bay, as a math teacher and as a high school principal. Please welcome a great friend to Tillamook, Senator Arnie Roeblen.
So it is really an honor to be here, to have an opportunity to speak. David and I, he's the representative for my district, always say, we don't get the cheese factory, but we get most of the cows. And we have always appreciated that fact. Actually, there are more cows in our part of this county than there are people. So we do appreciate the farming community. This last weekend, I had the opportunity to go to a wedding for my goddaughter, who is a niece, up in Sequim, Washington. And the bride sat me at the reception and said, "So what are you doing next?" And I said, "Oh, I get to go speak at the Tillamook Creamery." And it just stopped everything, because everybody there wanted to talk about their experience coming to the Tillamook Creamery. And they've been coming their whole lives. And my niece kept saying, every time we come visit you, we always have to take the coast because we have to stop at Tillamook Creamery. And so they were pretty excited that I was going. And it reflected on an uncle, one of her great uncles who had passed away, who worked on the one big farm in the Sequim Valley, which was the Gray's Marsh farm, and he took care of their cattle for over 40 years. And we thought about that and realized he'd never had a vacation. I don't know if they ever had a day off, because those were his girls, and he had to take care of them and make sure that they were taken care of. And it reminded me why I think this community is so important, and Tillamook to it. First, every farmer sitting out there that has cattle recognizes that they have an individual commitment to every single cow. That taking care of that cow and making sure that it's being taken care of every single day, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, is a commitment like no other that people who are even in the farming industry have. That commitment carries over to their family. They have to make sure that they get up every morning, no matter what the weather, oftentimes not like this, and go out there and do the work that they need to do to provide for that family, because they are committed family people. Next, for 109 years, they've been committed to an association of farmers that is this creamery. And everybody who is involved in any kind of organization knows you have to pull your own weight plus a little bit more if you want that organization to continue. And that's what's happened in this community for the last 109 years. But it doesn't end there. There's a commitment to community. Every single one of the people in this association is committed to their community. And you can go out to the fairgrounds and see it. You can go to the school and watch the end of the year when there are scholarships and other things being given. You can look at every building and every business in this community and recognize that they are all there in large part because of the commitment of those families that have stayed here and built this association. Then you got larger and larger, and you have a commitment to our state, both in the taxes you pay and in the way you do business, and we appreciate that at the state level. Finally, you have a commitment to a corporation, its values, and its quality. And that always reminds me, as that little kid that was 5 years old that fell out of the tree or scuffed my knees and ran home trying not to cry, and Mom would set me down at the kitchen table and say, "We can take care of that. I'm going to make you a grilled cheese sandwich and a bowl of soup." And we'd sit there and have that grilled cheese sandwich and that bowl of soup, and life would get better. And for the 65 years that followed that, every time there was a difficult time in life, or even a positive time, we would celebrate with making Tillamook cheese, because that was important to my father as I was raised. Tillamook cheese sandwiches and a bowl of soup, and life got simpler and better because of it. And the remarkable thing is, when I sit down to have that cheese sandwich today and I toast it, it tastes, feels, texture is the same as it was as I remember as a kid. That's a pretty amazing commitment to a lifelong of making memories and remembering those, because taste is really a big memory. So you get, each time you have that opportunity, you get to have that commitment back to that time when you were a little kid all the way through your life. I also want to say, one of the things that I was thinking here as I came, I thought, we need to name the building. And for those of us who drive, and I drove up from Goose Bay this morning, for those of us who drive, I think it should be named, Are We There Yet? Because I will tell you that the hundreds of thousands of cars that park in this parking lot have little kids sitting in the back seat. And as they're coming here, mile after mile after mile, they say the same thing. Are we there yet? We are here right now, and we're proud to be here. We're proud to be a part of this celebration. It is exciting to see this construction and this building, because for generations you have been making this place a hospital place for all sorts of tourists that are coming. This new building will continue that tradition, that commitment to educating and showing people what life is like in this community. And I appreciate the opportunity to have an opportunity to speak to each and every one of you about this wonderful place and this wonderful building. Thank you very much.